In this last video, as it relates to our time in the text, we've looked through genre. How was God saying what he was saying? We thought about observations of what was being said, and we did our work in the text as looking for and with a magnifying glass all the different observations that we could find and the different ways that we can observe things depending upon genre. We thought through what was being emphasized in the structure of the passage. And so, what was the author trying to get our attention to see? And then, what was being taught? We thought through the theology of the passage. After we've related to God, humankind, and ethics, after we've done all of that, though, then we want to check our work. We want to think in terms of commentaries. So, when we think about commentaries, one of the things that we can do, sorry, I've got something in my eye, is that we can too quickly and too soon jump to commentaries to get the answers. If we're really trying to study a text, one of the things that we can do is jump too early to those, and we miss out on the richness of being able to see the text for ourselves. And so I've been disappointed before when I've gone to a commentary and I see it and I say, oh man, I could have seen that. And so I miss out on the joy of self-discovery. And so while we've been walking through this process, we could have maybe used some commentaries for some historical elements and some cultural elements and things like that. Maybe even an outline to be able to get our literary context. But we really want to hold off as much as we can to really diving into the commentaries until after we've kind of done the bulk of our work ourselves in the passage. And so here are some rules for consulting commentaries then. First, we want to use them as a reference, not as a substitute for your own personal engagement with the text. And so we want to use them kind of as a checkpoint, as a reference. Again, we don't want to be able to just simply go and somebody else jump into somebody else's quiet time and all the work that they did in the text and miss doing that for ourselves. We want to be able to personally engage with the text ourselves. We simply want to use them to check our work. And so there are people who've put in a lot of hours into their studies and into these passages, and we want to be able to check our work with theirs. We want to use them to gain perspectives that you might not have had. So you may want to look at commentaries that may have a slightly different cultural perspective than you have, and I'm going to show you some examples of those here in just a little bit. So that, again, you can peer through that window and be helped by somebody who may be looking at it from a slightly different vantage point. 4, use them throughout your study, again, for context, help with maybe a Greek or Hebrew word if you want help with that, but don't rely on them solely. And then 5, recognize that the goal of your study is to encounter God and to be changed into his likeness, not just to master the text. And so often when we do our study, and this could be with or without commentaries, but we could simply kind of settle for mastering the text and even then study the commentaries, but miss out on encountering God in the passage. And so our goal is to encounter God, not just to master the text. And so let's look at some examples of different commentaries that I'd be happy to refer you to. There's the South Asia Bible commentary. And so if you live in that part of the world, this may be a great help for you. Or even if you don't live in that part of the world, this could be a helpful tool for you to be able to gain a slightly different perspective from a different cultural vantage point for you to be able to see a passage. And that's a 1-volume commentary for the entire Bible. Now, also you have up at the top right, the Asia Bible Commentary series. And so it's a series of books that dive in a little more deeply into different books of the Bible, and also come from a Asian perspective, in an Asian worldview. And so again, those could be very helpful whether you're from that part of the world or not. Another free commentary or a free commentary that I would recommend is that you can go to the Gospel Coalition website and type in the word commentary, and they have a number of Bible books covered in their commentary in their commentaries, and so they're still adding to those. So eventually they'll have every book covered, but it's just enough for you to be able to dig in and go maybe a little bit further with your study than you would have without using a commentary. And then a couple others from cultural perspectives are the Africa Bible Commentary, and that's also a one-volume work written by our brothers and sisters from the African context. And then the other is a Latin American commentary, and so obviously that's written from a Latino perspective. And so those are a few commentaries I'd be happy for you to be able to recommend to you and for you to be able to study in your Bible study work.